Good morning and welcome to Pretty Petty Politics. I am the Pretty Professor and I am joined this morning by Texas gubernatorial candidate Mr. Bobby Cole. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Pretty petty politics.
You like that name?
Oh, yeah.
So welcome back to Southeast Texas.
Yeah.
Back to Houston. You grew up in this area.
I grew up, I
What's
lived when I was 7 years old.
Oh, you were 7. Okay. So you got some roots here.
Got some roots here. I still have family here.
Okay. All right. Well, on Pretty Petty Politics, we always start with the same question, especially for candidates.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first time voting.
The first I can remember, I'm not guaranteeing it's the first time. The first time I remember was in '92, Clinton Gore in Hawkins County, Texas,
Okay.
in a little town called Como, Texas.
C-O-M-O?
C-O-M-O,
Oh,
Texas. Like a population of 200.
where is that? Okay.
Some people might know where Sulphur Springs is on Interstate 30.
Okay.
You come out of Dallas on 30 and about 80 miles east is Sulphur Springs, Texas, and that's the
Big town.
county seat of Hopkins County, Texas.
Okay. Okay.
And at the time I was, pretty young. How old would I have been? 22,
Okay.
and I was a dairy farmer
Okay.
at that.
All right. So you are a farmer. Talk to us, or a rancher. What's
Well,
the farmer?
I've been a lot of things.
I know you're a volunteer firefighter. Tell us about your career.
It's actually a career firefighter.
Career firefighter.
Yeah, with the city of Plano, Texas.
Okay.
I did a little over 17 years there, a little over 21 years in total.
Okay.
I started out in Texarkana. These are approximations because it's been a while. I did a little over right at 3 years in Texarkana. Did about 6 months or a little more in Farmers Branch, Texas.
Familiar with Farmers Branch?
And then I ended up settling in at Plano. That's where I did my career as a fire lieutenant.
Fire lieutenant. I thought
Yes,
you were
ma'am.
gonna say lieutenant. I don't know how I knew you were gonna say that. All right, so you've experienced being in public service.
Oh,
You built your career in public service.
Yeah.
Not as an elected, but actually as a facilitator of service.
yeah, hands on.
Hands-on, yes.
Put your back into it.
I love that. So tell us, what was that experience like for you?
Well, you get into it. I mean, I got into it because I was a farmer, and I don't know if there's any farmers out there, but especially family farms, and I'm sure there's quite a few that either grew up on it or had relatives that had farms. There's not a lot of money, so you've always got at
It's a
least.
lot of heart.
It's a lot of hard work. So you've always got to have at least a second job, sometimes 3 or 4. And I've had a bunch of them. And I've done all sorts of things. But I ended up finally finding a job as a firefighter. And it was a civil service job. It was a union job. And for the first time in my life, I had a good enough job that paid me good pay, paid me benefits, and gave me retirement. And that kind of job changes your life.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what my philosophy is about the campaign. People need jobs they can build a life around and have security that it's going to be there,
Yeah.
and that when they spend their entire life giving it to the company or service to the state or public service, you should be able to retire with some type of dignity and security there too, with a retirement you can count on. That's what I want for everybody. Because once I got that kind of job, it took the pressure off the farm. And I mean, I guess I got that job when I was 27 years old. I became a firefighter. And at that point, my young family and the farm, it was a fight for survival every year. And then after that, it was a slow and steady climb to stability. And at that point, I still have the farm today. And it's quite successful because everything didn't hinge on the farm.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't want to talk to your about it, but good jobs change lives
Absolutely.
and grow families, strong families.
So if you're traversing Texas and visiting different communities, what are you hearing from people, everyday people about jobs and their experiences and how they're being impacted?
There's really sort of a dichotomy between people that are, say, 40 years old. They've experienced a different world than anybody that's under 40.
Mhm.
That's what I'm really getting at. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science or a magic ball to see it. Opportunities for young people are, drying up, getting harder and harder. Jobs, good jobs are I guess scarce.
Mhm.
There's a lot of low paying jobs. Part of my campaign is $7.25 an hour. It's a joke. That's not funny.
It's a joke.
So I'm advocating for a $15 minimum wage in the state, and index it to inflation. But with the impending AI crisis coming down the pipe, young people are feeling a lot of angst and justifiably so.
Yes.
There's a lot of worry out there because housing's unaffordable. Even if you could buy a house, you got to worry about how you're going to pay for it because the goalpost keeps moving. Costs are going up. Interest rates, you can't lock one in right now. At least not one that's high, so you try to save a little money and get a variable rate. Well, that moves on you. Insurance goes up every time you turn around. And then we've got, the problem with property taxes in the state. We got to figure out how to bring them in and make them where working folks can afford them and know what their obligation is to property tax instead of just chasing this skyrocketing bill. You know what I'm saying? So young people are really worried about not only how are they going to make it, but how will I ever have a family?
Right. How can I afford it?
How can I afford it? And that's an existential crisis in this state. And it ties in with the middle class.
Mhm.
If you can't buy a home and you can't eventually pay for that home, the middle class is down.
Mhm.
Because the only way that hardworking people traditionally have been able to pass wealth to the next generation
Being home.
is in ownership. And when you don't have it, at that point, the middle class will be over. And the middle class is vitally important for working people. I'm going to get on a little bit of diatribe here, but
You're fine.
the middle class used to be 61% of us around the end of the 1970s. Well, today it's only 50% of us. And over that same time period, the working poor has increased by 30%. And yet the corporations and the billionaires have never been richer, even adjusted to inflation in the history of the country. And this is what I believe until you can prove me wrong. They shrunk, as far as I'm concerned, the corporations and the greedy billionaires at the top have shrunk the middle class by 11% by constricting wages and taking jobs away and automating. They're looking at the other 50% of us and they're thinking, look how much money is still left down. Let's figure out how we can get it all. And I promise you, they don't care if there's a middle class. I do.
You do. Let's go to something that you kind of mentioned about AI and how that's impacting the economy and jobs. It's also impacting water.
Oh,
And I know water is very important to you, both as a farmer, but as also as a retired firefighter.
Yeah.
What are your positions, your thoughts about how we keep seeing these data centers pop up throughout Texas and it's impacting our water and how it's impacting environment and communities in general?
yeah. Well, here's a farming analogy. You go through a period of drought and then you get some rain and the weeds pop up really quick. After that, they'll beat the grass out. you know, weeds would pop up and start to dominate the field. To me, the second coming of Trump and Abbott already being in place, they have cleared the runway, cleared the field for these AI data centers. There's no regulations. There's no environmental report or impact being studied, and it's all Republicans love the term emergency because they can suspend all sorts of good rules that are meant to protect the public in general. And this is all framed under we're in an AI race with China. And so we got to do everything we can to keep up or stay ahead. And so these things are popping up overnight in communities that had no idea they were coming. A lot of NDAs being signed by officials until it's too late because they don't want the public's input on these things because they're so big. They're so big, they change communities. The grid has to be vastly built up, which they want to pass that cost to regular everyday people. They want to socialize costs and then privatize profits, of course. And so we're going to have to pay to build them a grid, and then the resources these communities need, housing goes way up because when they build these things, the area gets flooded with workers, causing house costs to go up and rents to go up, displacing people in the community. And then on top of that, it's the water. The water's everything because you know, everybody knows there is no life without water. And they're wanting to use vast amounts of water. We have no idea how ethical they're going to be with it, how efficient they're going to be with it. We hear about closed loop systems, but nobody knows what that really means. There's just a lot of things with these AI data centers. You know, there's going to be a boom of employment when they're constructed. But when that's done, the only thing they're going to bring to these communities is extraction. They're really not going to be putting inputs in because they're getting great sweetheart deals to come here, tax abatements forever. I mean, they're paying pennies on the dollar compared to what your private homeowner does on their property taxes, and it's not fair. And there's nobody in this current state of government that wants to make it fair. And so anybody that's listening, and you've ever wondered whether you need to get out and vote, it's absolutely critical you get out and vote. Because there's things in this state happening right now that once they're in place, you're not going to be able to change. These AI billionaires and their big tech companies, when they get enough of a foothold, they'll have enough power that you won't be able to wrestle it back. And so you need to elect representatives that's going to stand up and get in the way of this and say, whoa, I don't care if it's an emergency or not. We'll let China worry about China. We need to worry about our communities, and we need to evaluate this. And we need to make sure people are protected and not profits.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm gonna switch gears here. It's an issue that is important to me as a woman, particularly as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Harris County is the deadliest place for a Black woman to be president.
I think yes.
Yeah. So the maternal health rate is poor here.
Yes.
Despite us having the world's largest medical center.
I think it's considered one of the best in the world.
It is. But when it comes to Black women's maternal health, we're seeing a rise in mortality. Like we're seeing these deaths, these complications. Have you heard about this thing?
Oh, yeah. It's double of their white counterparts.
Mhm.
And it's not nothing to do with race. It's about your economic situation in life. You just don't have access like you should.
You think it's just that? Because I mean, they're Black women, highly professional, you know, from
They're
the established that have suffered.
Oh, yeah, but well, there's some systemic issues with treatment and treatment being able to be accessed by, minorities in general, but mainly the discrimination comes from not having the economic or insurance. I mean, that is the main source of
The numbers.
the numbers.
Correct, that's correct.
And this is absolutely unacceptable in the second biggest economy in the nation, that we have young women, I don't care where they're from or who they look like or what race they are, dying at this rate. The overall rate, I believe, is like 29.3 women per 100,000 births. We have roughly 400,000 babies in the state every year. So that's roughly 120 women die from complications with maternal mortality. Here's what's really going to infuriate you, and it would absolutely devastate you if one of these women were your family or your husband or your wife or your mother. 80% of these have been determined to have been preventable. So that's roughly 100 women a year in Texas dying unnecessarily. There are all sorts of things in this state with our healthcare system, our rural healthcare system. Over 50% of our counties are considered healthcare deserts and maternity care deserts. We don't have doctors, maternity care doctors out in rural Texas. Hospitals are closing. 27 since 2010, 27 rural hospitals have closed. There are figures out there, studies done, that from 2014 to 2017, 3,000 Texans aged 55 to 64 died in this state because of lack of health care. We got a governor that won't expand Medicaid. His attack on women's health, his attack on hospital access is killing people each and every year, thousands. And they all lie at his feet because of the short-sighted or for political gain policies or pure cruelty. I don't know which one it is. Take the pick. None of them's good.
Yeah, so I love that you expanded the conversation around the state, because I was gonna get into that, so that is great. But I still wanna go back to what's happening to Black women.
Yes.
Because it feels to me to be targeted. Because how is that happening here in Harris County? We have over 100 hospitals just here.
Yeah.
And this is
Should be plenty of access
it should be plenty of access and better treatment.
and better treatment. A lot of these things, I don't know what the insurance rate is amongst Black people in this county. It could have something to do with it, because maternal mortality is probably something, if you're getting prenatal care, you can see coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because of lack of, I mean, this is all of a lot, not all of it. I absolutely hear what you're saying. No, I hear what you're saying. No, I am not missing the point.
Okay.
And believe you me, as governor, I want to verify what we probably already think's going on. But the problem is that we've made healthcare unaffordable. That's the core issue. Is there prejudice still in this country? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will not disagree with you. For whatever reason, are there places in this country, or maybe people who are in the healthcare profession, that may make somebody of color wait longer than they should? I'm sure it happens.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere in the state, all across the country, every day.
All right.
And so, is that right? No, it's not. And just like Dr. Martin Luther King and Lewis, we're not perfect, but we gotta keep, getting there.
I thought
You know,
I thought you were
John-
gonna say Louis Farrakhan, but I didn't
No,
know about John Lewis.
John Lewis.
You're just funny to me right there, it's fine. We have a live audience, y'all.
John
John
Lewis,
yeah.
that, you know, and Martin Luther King.
Yeah, they're.
We don't have a perfect country, but what's great about America is that we know we're not perfect, and we still got work to do,
Yeah,
and that's
let's stay here and
That's a lot of
for a little bit. In your first 100 days of death.
Yeah.
What would you do to assure Texans about healthcare? What would be some actions that you would either take or begin in your first 100 days?
Here's the deal, you would think, the governor of the state of Texas just has a lot of, you know, a wand, he just throw and say, this is so, this is so.
Mhm.
A lot of this is locked up in the
In the
legislative
Absolutely.
body, but here's the deal, as governor. You have the bully pulpit,
Mhm.
and when you have the bully pulpit, you can start advocating and show true leadership about the things that working people need. And working people are everybody that punches the clock, goes to work every day. They're urban, suburban, and rural, and they're everywhere in the state, and they look like everybody. You gotta get healthcare right, you gotta get public education right. Those are two pillars that,
Give me 5 on that.
two pillars that the middle class is built on.
Yeah, that our country is built
That
on.
our country's built on.
Yeah.
And so here's what I do. The governor can say how he would like the state to be,
Mhm.
leadership. And then start, you know, depending, if I become governor, it's probably been a good night for Democrats.
Yeah.
And so if we swept in enough, to get a majority, this is gonna be easy work. We're gonna get a lot of stuff done in the first 100 days, and healthcare, expanding Medicaid is one of them right away.
Okay.
And then we're gonna fully fund education. The median, allocation per student in Texas is 4,000 below the national average. We're gonna meet that. And then teachers' pay is about 10,000 below. We're gonna meet that. We're gonna at least get on par with the rest of the country instead of being at the bottom.
Okay.
And then we're gonna work to keep improving after that. But the way you do this, if we're not quite there, we're gonna put the squeeze on whoever's left in Republicans that don't want to get on board, because 60 and 70% of Texans want what we're talking about right here, right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna put the squeeze on them. We're gonna call them out, and then I'm gonna call special session after special session after special session until they get tired of not going home and they do what's right.
Yeah, because they can't run, because they had to pay their own fines. We learned that.
Right.
So here is, I'm looking at your pillars, right, that you posted. You have 6 pillars to take back the Texas dream. Let's talk about those pillars. We have about 15 minutes left, but I want you to be able to talk about those pillars.
We've touched on them here.
Yeah,
Of course, but housing, we got to make housing affordable,
mhm,
and we can do that. We can, you know, there's a Senate bill at the moment, 804.
okay,
I don't know what's in there,
that's
so.
in there. Talk about it, you don't need to.
But what it's done is, it has cleared the red tape and the policy of obstructions away from, trying to think zoning,
Yeah,
corporate, zoning, and frees the way to be able to build, apartment complexes, mid-level apartment complexes on commercial zone property.
okay,
And what that will do is that we have about 300,000 home housing shortage in this state.
the deficit that we have.
Right. And so that's gonna get us caught up quite a bit. There's some other things within cities and communities we can do to shrink lot sizes, alternative, dwelling units. A lot of this is already in place. We can speed that up. When you meet the housing deficit, then demand will go down. Prices will come down. So we can ease prices there. I'm gonna fight every day. I'm gonna bump the minimum wage up in the first place through legislation or special section. And so we're gonna get wages up. I will also advocate for busting up monopolies anywhere and everywhere they exist in our state. And like I said, this is a process you gotta go to work on. But when you bust up these big corporations, you're gonna restore true competition in the market. And that's housing also. And then when you bust up all these big companies, you're gonna make a lot of small companies. When you make a lot of small companies, demand for workers will go up. At that point, workers have a great opportunity to negotiate pay. And that's our opportunity to make living wages in the state. So you drive that, you get rid of the housing deficit. So the market is in good condition for fair pricing. And then you drive down prices that cost to build them. And then you get higher wages in the state. We went a long way to solving housing crisis in the state. Is it overnight? No, but we don't have a governor that's even trying to solve it. So we can do it. When you do that, you rebuild the middle class by itself. A house that's paid for is more than shelter. It's wealth building, it's stability building, and it also rebuilds the middle class itself, which is vitally important. Then we go on to energy costs.
Okay.
What I'll do, I'm a proponent for all energy sources in the state, and we're going to clear the path on getting energy production, both wind, solar, nuclear, and gas. We need to be a state of cheap energy, and because energy costs in this state is becoming oppressive, and so you've got to ease that burden to ease housing costs, ease energy costs. And then we're going to move on to de-rigging the economy, cost of living. Insurance companies are making a killing in the state. Housing insurance is roughly up 55% in the last 2 years. 40%. Car insurance is 40 to 50% above what it was since COVID and going up every day.
Yeah.
These are everyday costs for people, and you can't, if you owe for your car and you owe for your house, guess what? You got to have it, right? So it's a captured market. We need to make it fair. And then we've got all these big corporations profitizing our infrastructure by, buying energy credits, and then at times of crisis, they're cashing them in for profit. We have Bitcoin miners in the state that make more money selling back energy under crisis pricing than they do making Bitcoins. One Bitcoin manufacturer made $130 million in 1 year and only made like 50 billion mining Bitcoin. So they made more money off energy. And this is how the electric company gets their money back. They charge us uplift charge in every one of our bills across the state. So we're paying to make billionaires richer. We're going to get rid of that. And then AI, we've talked about it. It talks about what we need to do about workers' rights and AI.
Yeah.
Here's my position. Just sum it all up. Communities and people come first. We'll use AI as a tool to help us make our lives better. But if AI is meant to replace us, I'm not for it. And so that's not going to happen as long as I'm good. State, that's not going to be the policy with AI. And then we're going to move on to healthcare and education. And I sort of touched on it. These are pillars. To me, there's 3 pillars underneath middle class.
Yeah.
We've got housing, got to make it affordable, and you got to make it where you can eventually pay for it. You got public education. I'm telling you, if you privatize education, it's only gonna be for the wealthy. The rest of us will get left behind. We don't leave nobody behind, as long as I'm good. And then we gotta have healthcare in this state. It's gotta be affordable, it's gotta be accessible.
So housing, education, and healthcare.
Those are,
Those are your essentials.
you gotta get them right.
You gotta get them right.
If you do that for the middle class and get them good, all those stuff really just falls into place. I mean, it really will.
Let me ask you about education, and I'm gonna do two things. We only got like 10 minutes left, but I think it's worth it. We might.
I'll speed up.
We actually have a little bit, we can go a little bit longer. I'm looking at the actual time. So I want to talk to you about education. 3 things. We know we have this voucher thing going on.
Yeah.
What is your position around vouchers? I'll start with that, and then I'll go into the other.
This is easy. I'm not for them. We pay taxes as citizens of this state. Taxes are meant for the public good. Private education is a private one. If you want that, you go pay for it. Public education, it answers to requirements and standards. It takes all comers to students in need with both physically and mentally. We don't turn anybody down in this state as far as public education. We educate everybody. Private education, they don't have a board, they don't answer their parents. If your kid's having a bad rough spot in their life and they're causing the school problem, they just kick them out. We're not gonna deal with it. Or if they're not meeting up to their standard wherever they want their grade point to be, like, well, your kid's not progressing like we would like, go find somewhere else. This is what they can do, and this is what they do. I can't say it any more simply than this. When you pay your taxes, it's like somebody saying, well, when I go out my driveway, I only turn left to go to work, so I don't want to pay for part of the road maintenance going to the right. And so the next neighbor says, well, I'm only gonna pay to the part of the highway that goes to the right. So if we allowed everybody to do that, you can imagine how it would get bogged down. And then between the two, we really only got the tax to be able to work on the road we got half the money.
Yeah.
We know how, we got fully funded roads that are need expanding and maintenance right now. If you cut that in half, that would work. It's like somebody, one last thing, it's like somebody you want to put a public park in for the benefit of the community. Somebody goes, I don't want to pay my tax, I don't ever use the park, but I want to take my money and put in a private swimming pool for myself. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Public education should not work that way. I'm not for vouchers. I will limit them, and then when I get the opportunity and the power to do it, I will eliminate.
All right, limit then eliminate. My next question is about trade.
Trade, yes.
Trade in public schools and community colleges, our trade programs. What would you do
Like
to,
technical program.
yeah, to expand
Oh,
plumbing,
got
welding,
Yes.
electrical work? How would you expand funding for those programs? Not just not just in our junior colleges, but also K-12. There was a time
Oh, yeah.
you had that in the public schools.
Public schools and out in rural Texas, there's still some of those left.
Yeah.
You know, but we need
Overwhelmingly.
we need them across the state, both in urban schools and rural schools. You know, the trades are skills, and as working people, not all of us are going to go to college. So if we can, the sooner we can come out with a skill and start making a good living, the sooner the entire state lifts. And so, yeah, I'm a big proponent. This is not a question. Anything we're talking about, people are going to go, oh, well, you're a tax and spend liberal. That's bullcrap. And I'll tell you why. This state is the second biggest economy in the country. We've got $30 billion in a general fund, and we got $30 billion in a rainy day fund. We haven't raised funding for schools basically for 6 years, underfunding them to fail. This is not a funding problem, it's a priority problem. the money there to put, technical and vocational skill back in high schools and to put them, make sure junior colleges have not only, the funding for it, but a vast array of skills they can teach. And so I'm all for it, and I think our higher education and college tuition needs to be driven down and make it more accessible for everyone. It's gotten just like they're wanting to privatize our secondary education. They've taken our higher education and only geared it towards profits.
Yeah,
And that doesn't need to be the end goal. It needs to be people over profits.
so let's talk about higher ed, because you know that's next. So with higher education, we just talked about accessibility through costs,
Mhm.
but what educators in higher ed are experiencing is a reduction of our academic freedom. You
Yeah,
know, as professionals, as experts, subject matter experts, how do you plan to restore that confidence? Because we're beginning to see educators flee, you know, these
Yeah.
experts flee academia. How would you restore that trust and that
well, you've got
that
it.
experience?
Leadership matters.
Mhm,
I would display the correct kind of leadership we need to have in the state. We're Texans, but we're also Americans.
mhm.
And our Constitution guarantees life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and you've got a right to pursue that.
Mhm.
Academic freedom's absolutely vital. The reason this is happening in this state, I was out at Texas Tech the other day, and it's almost like, you know, you're given one spot to stand, you know, and you can't be too vocal
This way.
or this way or that way. You gotta be, you know, minding your P's and Q's, because these institutions, both nationally and within the state, are being intimidated. They're being intimidated politically to silence voices. And whether it's gerrymandering or this silencing of our higher education, colleges and our professors and teachers, both in schools and in colleges, this is un-American. America is about ideas and expressing them. And we shouldn't be violating the First Amendment and limiting what people can talk about and discuss, especially in our institutions of learning. What is everybody so afraid of? I don't understand.
I love that you mentioned the Constitution. So in Texas, every high school classroom has the Ten Commandments. Well, not high school, the school classroom
Yeah,
has the Ten Commandments posted.
yeah.
Guess what's not posted? The Bill of Rights.
No, there's no Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights
And
is
the Constitution's probably not there.
Yeah, yeah,
Although it'd be a little longer read, but
Yeah.
not much.
not much, because the
Yeah,
Constitution
it's
is
pretty
not that
simple.
long,
Pretty simple.
pretty direct.
and
But
pretty direct.
the Bill of
Take it out.
Bill
Oh,
of Rights isn't posted.
Bill of Rights isn't posted.
Would you be opposed to posting the Bill of Rights if you like to post things in classrooms?
Well, it seems only fair, but I think the Bill of Rights will be there anyway.
Just saying.
Because it lets you know what your rights are when you're a citizen of this country. I think that's vitally important.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So as we get ready to wrap up, it's yours. Tell the people where they can follow you, learn more about you, and any final words.
Okay, I'm Bobby Cole. I'm running for governor. You can go to coleforgovernor.com to learn more. Volunteer, need volunteers, and donate. I mean, I'm grassroots. I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. I promise you, even on this thing. So we just want enough money to get around and be able to talk to people and stay on the road. What I'd like to touch on is sort of what you talked about, education. Educators are fleeing the state. They're not the only ones fleeing. Doctors are fleeing the state
Yeah,
because of our policy towards women
yeah.
and women's health care. Immigrants are fleeing the state. I'm pro-immigration. We need a strong border, but I'm pro-immigration. We need business. We need the economy to keep roaring so we have jobs. I don't care where immigration comes from. The average mother only has 1.6 kids in this country. We have a stagnant population. The two things, we're running out of consumers, we gotta have consumers, and then we need enough workers to keep the state, roaring and being built. So we gotta have immigration and we're running it out. And then we've got young mothers and young families that are leaving the state because of the abortion policy. Everything this Republican, government does in this state is short-sighted and is not good long-term for our economic viability as Texans.
All right, I forgot to ask our production team, did we have any comment questions?
Yes, we have 3 questions. First question, name one powerful interest in Texas you're willing to confront as governor, oil and gas, corporate donors, or party leadership, and explain exactly what policy you'll change, even if it'll cost you political support.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, AI across the board, whether it's Meta or Facebook or Elon Musk. I don't know if there's any particular law other than it's been cleared the debt for them. I'll confront
Data
that
center.
for data centers.
Mhm.
And then as far as what was the other sheet?
Name one powerful interest in Texas you're willing to confront as governor. And then explain how you would do it, even if it will cost you political support.
Well, the Republican Party needs to be confronted on several places, and women's health would be one of the first ones in their public education policy. I'll confront them no matter what that means, even now or then. And I mean, as far as billionaires in this state, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, any number of our laws and policies are slanted to make them even richer. I'll confront them over that, and I will work to repeal any of those things that benefit billionaires over the needs and wants of what it takes to raise a family in this state. I know which side.
Okay, next question?
Can you, the question is, how will you ensure public schools that public schools in Texas are fully funded?
Well, this is sort of what we talked about. Leadership matters, and it depends. If I'm governor, we've hopefully swept in a lot of Democratic representatives. And what that's going to mean is we can go straight out. The money's there. It's a priority deal. I want to bring up funding for students to the national average, which is $4,000 per student. I want to bring teachers' pay up to the national standard, which is about $10,000. And we'll either do that outright as a Democratic legislative body and a governor, or we'll play hardball and we'll call special session after special session, and we'll use every tool in the toolbox to twist arms.
How are you going to undo the private school vouchers that is not representative of the majority of Texans?
Same thing we're talking about here. You got to get in there. As governor, I don't have a magic wand. I have leadership to display in values and principles. This private school voucher goes against the principles of Texas. It goes against our long-term interests, and I'll do everything I can to move it through the legislature and get it changed. And we'll play hardball there too.
Last question is, what is your policy on privatization of Texas roads, meaning
Tolls. I'm against it. I would not advocate for that any longer. In any toll roads that have been paid for, we would figure out how we would eventually return them to the state of Texas and make it where working people can travel the roads without another fee or another cost.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much. Give us your social media pages.
Bobby Cole, coleforgovernor.com. I've got Facebook, Instagram, Threads. I've got all those. You can go to that website, and I've linked to all those on the website. You can also check out the Take It Back agenda there too.
All right, so the Take It Back agenda just released.
Just released yesterday,
Okay.
so it's brand new. It's a good read. it's not really a long read, but it's informative and it's really, you want to know what I want to do in the first 100 days? That's where I'll start and I won't stop. I'll spend my entire term getting that agenda.
Okay, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for following us. Before we go, remember that I recently launched the Houston Civics and Leadership Campaign School, and you can make a donation. We are on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and everywhere else you can Google us. But please make a donation to the campaign school so that more individuals can be prepared to run for office to represent you, regardless of political party. We just want good, solid candidates out here running. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Stay warm. Peace out.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Okay. Bye.